Hello, hello. What's happening? How are y'all doing today?
Yes, I am the Lord.
Hello.
Tano says, thank you for 73 months. Project, thank you for 49 months. Nate, thank you for 38 months. Very much appreciated. What the heck, Dino? What the heck are you talking about? Do you have people screaming around you? I'm glad I don't have people screaming around me. I've got a headache going on. Oh, I see. I just thought that was gibberish at the end of your first statement. R730, I understand now. Why are you breaking it? What's going on? Why is this happening? It's not like a huge horrible headache. It's okay. I'll survive. Well, don't keep dropping my vape like that. Nakomi and I went out on a journey today to do some stuff, pick some things up, and we learned that our AC in our car just doesn't work anymore. So we had our own heat wave all day, which was very unpleasant. Yeah, probably a contributing factor to my headache that I have now. Yeah, just another pain in the ass. Just another thing to deal with. Yeah. No, it would be way worse than AZ, of course. So, we passed on a Crew tonight. Obviously. There's not enough people to form a crew this evening. And then, as for myself, I just didn't really have a game plan. I don't know. Oh yeah, messages. I didn't respond to any messages today. The wall art? The wall art. What? Oh, do you mean like... Oh, right. You know, I was thinking about maybe poking at that. But with the headache, I was like, I don't know. I took some naproxen. We'll see if maybe it clears up a bit. Yeah. I do really like Ghibli BFA. When it comes to anime, I'm just so like, I don't even really talk about it anymore. It's weird because I used to be so into it, and then it just really kind of evolved away from me. It's very different from when I was into it, you know? Just the vibe and the general, like, stuff. Like, late 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't quite the, insane rate of release. There wasn't so much stuff. And I think my view of it was also different because it was, like, fresh and new. So certain things really grabbed my attention. Like, Trigun was an early one. It's really goofy. And in hindsight, every time I ever return to it, it seems goofier and goofier. I still find it endearing, nevertheless. But it's weird as shit. But that was one that I was very into back in the day. And Berserk. FLCL. And Gainax stuff of the time. Oh, I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt. Nakomi got me some shirts recently. This is one of them. It's a good shirt. I like it. No, BFA actually had PM'd me about anime soundtracks. And then I didn't get around to replying to it. Gurren Lagann. I actually really enjoy the whole, like, Gainax project, or it's Production IG, right? That whole arc, like, there's just a lot of good stories through that. I'm trying to just think of anything. I mean, it's a wide array. It's a wide array of stuff. And it's hard to, like, put my finger on, like, this is my favorite, or this style is my favorite, or anything. I'm not saying that those kinds of things don't exist. That's just, that was the time for me. That was the time when I was paying attention. And now it's all too noisy for me. There's too much noise. And I just don't... I don't know. I don't really feel like getting into it. I don't feel like trying to sift through it all and find things. I guess. I don't know. It's just not for me anymore, that's all. I don't hate anime either. I just don't actively seek it out now. I used to. I used to always be like, what's new? What's happening? And I just don't know. Vampire Hunter D. I love that movie. That one came to mind. I'm sure I'm leaving out things that I really liked. And it's not like I haven't watched recent stuff either. Like, I loved Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin. It was very good. I'm enjoying Dr. Stone. I like it because it feels very nostalgic and goofy. I've kind of fallen off the My Hero wagon.
Yes, I am the Lord.
Six Knife.
Hail, Nico, thank you for 14 months. Oh, hey. Chime?
Yes,
Thank you for the raid.
I am the Lord.
Kaimem1 Pogitsako.
Chimera, thank you for 57 months. I thought you were going to draw girls. Or did you already draw girls? Girls. Yeah, Nakomi and I, we both... Oh, you drew one girl. Alright. At least you got one girl out. Nakomi and I were both trying to watch this most recent season, and we both dropped off. Like, we just didn't care anymore. During the... whatever they were doing. Like, the play fighting between the groups. It's just... boring. And in some ways, like, stupid. There's so many, like, things that just seem like obvious filler. It just feels like it's dragging. It doesn't feel interesting anymore. It sucks, because it felt like it had such crazy potential. And then everything kind of fell apart really fast on that. That's how it goes, I guess, sometimes. My Hero is the one I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah. That all feels like... But Season 5 is really good, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I've got a fly situation. I don't know where they came from, but I had a couple of flies that got in here and they're just fucking hanging around. This place is old, so we get really random visits from insects. It's not like tons of insects, but like occasionally there'll be a wasp. I've gotten real good at one-shotting wasps out of the air with my soapy water gun. It's amazing how well that works. If you have a wasp problem, keep just a spray bottle with some soapy water in it around and have it on the, you know, the straight shot, not like a cloud, but just the narrow shot, and you shoot them and it takes them out. They're done. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about soapy water, but it fucks them up. Damn, Hicks. Well, look. You're almost making me feel bad, but the thing to remember about wasps is that they are only made out of hate. And that's reason enough. They're not like bees. I would feel bad doing that to bees. And I think bees generally don't really want to fuck with you. Whereas wasps, I think, have been shown to actually actively like do things that are malicious and don't have any other explanation for their actions. Which is which sucks. Sucks that there's things that fly through the air, can hurt you very much, and are malicious. It's really a downer, you know? So yeah. Plus, I don't know if I'm allergic or anything. There's a possibility that I could be, and I don't fuck around with that shit. I see a wasp, I take them out. It's fast, and that's that. I don't think there's any particularly insane bees. I think almost everything... You probably would be thinking of hornets. I think people associate hornets and bees together. But as far as I know, there's honeybees and there's bumblebees, and those are the bees. And then there's hornets, yellow jackets, and wasps, and those are kind of a whole different thing. Like, hornets are the really crazy, like, they're beyond wasps. Hornets exist solely for murder. Right, pubs and boobies. Also boobies. Oh yeah, Africanized bees. Yeah. Now that you mention it, there is that. I kind of forgot about them. Well, I have heard about people... I think I recall hearing about people in Phoenix getting very rarely killed by swarms of bees. But I don't remember if... I imagine it must have been Africanized bees, but I don't know why that would happen or how. I have seen pretty scary large swarms of bees hanging around in Phoenix. The things that scare me are those the hornets that are like this, like that, and they're like this wide, like Japanese hornets and shit like that. Please, leave me out of that shit. I do not ever want to meet one of those. I would just probably die on the spot because my body would just do the math and be like, not worth it. Gone. Yeah, that recently happened, didn't it? Just 2020 was like a big, huge ball of shit with all the dumb, over-the-top things that happened. Where was that at? Was that California? That there was a... I don't even know what you would call it. Is it an outbreak? An invasion? Yeah. It's back to anime. Generally these days, like, Nakomi is my main conduit to anime. If there's gonna be a show that I watch, it's gonna be usually because of her, or it'll be because of somebody making a recommendation in the community that we end up trying out. That's basically it. Oh yeah, Promised Neverland. We started season 2. We didn't continue, and I don't quite remember why. I think Nakomi kind of gave me the heads up that maybe we just shouldn't if I want to keep liking Promised Neverland. I think that's what happened. And it's just something I didn't really understand, and then we hadn't been back to. So, I mean, now you're all telling me that it's bad, so now I guess I know, but... Oh, yeah, you know, Invincible, that really surprised me. I mean, that's not anime, but... animated, but yeah. God, Nakomi and I tried that, and we just fucking hated the first episode so much that we didn't go on. Hated it. Fucking hated it. We were both like, what the fuck is wrong with everyone? And just quit. Because the dialogue, oh god, there's just a lot of cringe in the first episode. There's a lot of like the way these characters talk to each other and stuff. Ugh. It all felt unnatural and forced, and I didn't think I would go back to it, but like everybody kept talking about it, and I just went back to it on my own. You know, like while working, I was just doing some work, and I had it up, and I eventually got past the stuff that was really cringy at the beginning, and then by the end, I was really fucking invested in it. I was shocked that I cared that much. Yeah, I don't know. It ended up being great by the end. I was really blown away. Oh no, they tried to cram the entire rest of the manga into season 2? Why? Why do they do that? I don't understand. If they like, I don't get it, man. On the one hand, these companies will do filler and stuff to try... Well, I guess that actually does make sense. or isn't really a deviation from what they normally do, now that I think about it. Because what they typically do is they'll start an anime while the manga's running, and then they'll do filler to delay for time while they wait for the manga to go on. But I guess I don't know. I've never heard of this. I've never heard of a manga finishing and then they're just like, well, you're gonna smash it all in poorly. I don't know. That sucks. I guess that means then that they only had the license for one more season or something. Like, why not just negotiate a third season? I just don't understand how how it's got to where it is in that industry right now. I mean, I'm not like I said, I'm not hyper invested, so it's obviously I don't know much. But like, it just seems like there's so many bad decisions, so much like just pain and anguish for seemingly little to no reason. Oh, so basically the market sucks. Ugh. Yeah, okay. I get you. So the hype will die. Sucks. That's, yeah. It's unfortunate. Well, I don't know, Colorado, because like it just seems like there's probably bad reasons for that too. I don't know how to explain it, but it just seems like to do that you probably can't be viable in that industry the way that all these other things happen and the stuff that goes on. Like, I don't know. Not to mention all the things that happen to manga artists and animators and stuff, just individuals being paid like fucking shit and treated like shit and everything else. It's sucks. It just sucks. I know better than to think that there was a good old days, but it does feel sometimes like stuff is just being mined more today than used to be. That the objective is more so profit. Like, I'm sure it always was, but it's much more dominant. Right. Yeah, the market did expand massively. It's a downer. That's all I can say. It's just a downer. I hope it gets better. Yeah. I don't really know or understand that stuff. It rained a bit today, but no, not really. There hasn't been a big storm or anything. I just saw the picture you sent me, BFA. Yeah. typically anything like this, vinyls and stuff, specific series and things, there's a release where you can get these sorts of things at rational prices, but the releases are super limited because the vinyl market is real small still. And so once the stock is all sold, then it all becomes massively expensive on the aftermarket instantly. Yeah. Yeah, these are all probably double what they released at. I would guess. Maybe not. Maybe they were released at these prices. I could be wrong altogether. But I've definitely seen that with some. Craigit has told me about some that were like just insane how instantly they went into like hundreds of dollars. But they were released at like 30 or 40. But yeah, it definitely makes me sad about Promised Neverland. I don't know how to, like... I've always have a hard time explaining what it is about that show, but it just had a certain intangible something, and it reminded me of books I would occasionally read when I was a little kid that just presented a kind of a haunting, slightly threatening world that kids find themselves in, and then they have to navigate that. And it had a certain rawness to it that made it feel. It made the actually maybe a good comparison here is like if you consider Harry Potter, if you know Harry Potter, we set aside all the shitty. Forget the shitty. That's a whole different topic. But like, it's just something. It's a kid's story many people know, and it's pretty good in terms of establishing or making it seem like there's real threats. You know, there's a real difficulty that the characters have to overcome. But it does still kind of feel like the punches are pulled. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Promised Neverland doesn't feel that way. It actually feels like their lives are in actual danger. And there's an extra level to that, I feel. Makes it much more compelling. Made in Abyss, another Death of the Creator situation, also had that quality where it felt like Dark Souls starring children. And it fucking really sucks that went the way it did. Arrgh. Can we have anything? Why does it seem like there's so many monsters? Why are there so many monsters? Why is that our shitty reality? Oh, don't. I mean, if you don't know, I don't know if you should. And in hindsight, it seems kind of obvious. It's just that if you don't view things that way, you wouldn't think that until you find out this piece of information. Then you start to look at it completely differently, and you're like, oh my god. I think that's another thing about anime that kind of drove me away from it too. Is this there seems to just be kind of like a steady undercurrent of something that I just kind of find off-putting.
Y'all ready for bits?
Yeah. Hey, Lindley, thank you for those biddies. That sounds so familiar. Etrian Odyssey. I'm not familiar with Vinland Saga. I can't tell you what it is, but there's never a replacement for things. There's just never really a one-to-one. Nothing can ever really sweep in and just, this is a fine replacement. You know what I mean? It's weird because you would think that, like, I used to drift into a feeling like we're getting to a point where everything's been said, everything's been done, all the stories have been told, and it's just aesthetic differences at this point, blah, 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 which is actually dumb. It's actually dumb. Because in reality, what I've found is, yeah, there are commonalities across everything. But duh, that's just, of course. And it is those aesthetic choices that are the difference, and the little differences in how the characters are constructed, or what dialogue is written, and how the art is done, and etc. And it's building off of those is how you get new unique things, you know, combining and recombining and that sort of thing. So I have found that it's really hard to just, here's something else that just does that exact same thing. It never is that. Made in Abyss had a little unique something about it. Something in how I've said it before, but it gave me like slight Dark Souls vibes in how the world is presented in a way that I really enjoy, where the world, and I'm sort of referring more to world building than literally the world, but just the attitude of it is almost like its own character. There's sort of an oppressive attitude that it projects, and the characters that they encounter are very unpredictable in how they react to each other and what their choices are going to be, what their decisions are. That I don't think is easily found in exactly that fashion from something else. Maybe in the style of the world, maybe in the art style, something like that, or, you know, whatever. I have played so much Souls off stream. It's my weird vice game. I can't really explain why that's how it came to be, but I've played a lot of Bloodborne and Dark Souls, Dark Souls 3. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 very much. I've never completed any of them. But I almost would just sort of like to unwind and just fuck around. I would just pop into some Dark Souls 3 and do whatever. But I just never stream it much. Most I have ever streamed of any of them was Demon's Souls long ago. So I have some like familiarity with the way those worlds are, the way they work, where they're oppressive and impenetrable. They remind me of the Team Ico games as well. Very similar, extremely similar, where this whole world is constructed and you're interacting with less than 1% of it. You're something about that is just, it lends it a mystique and a believability that is just not matched
by a lot of things. It's not matched by, say, like it's very different from like a Final Fantasy RPG game. Like, I'm talking earlier ones, not like the MMOs or whatever. That's just a whole different thing. I'm not comparing to that. But like, just to compare to games that have a full world, where they control every detail of the whole world, and you can probably visit most of it, I don't get the same feeling from something like that that I got from, you know, like playing Bloodborne and experiencing that world. It's not necessarily the desolation. It's the really solid presence of it all around you, and that there's so much of it you can see that you actually can't go to and touch. You just nothing. You're only seeing a small portion of it that pertains to you, but it gives this, I don't know, it makes me want to explore what I do have access to more for whatever reason. I don't know. Monolithic? I don't know if that's necessarily descriptive of this feeling that I'm talking about. I don't think. Like, monolithic kind of would mean like it's very samey throughout, and it's like one solid thing. Yeah, I guess if you're meaning massive and impressive, then yeah. I was thinking monolithic differently, like uniform. You know what I'm saying? So I was coming at that from a different angle. Like the Ico games, obviously more than the other two, I would say Shadow of the Colossus gives a very similar feeling, where you're traversing this really huge and seemingly empty place, and it kind of feels like you, the player, are experiencing it well after anything relevant happened. Whatever was important about this world happened a long time ago, and now you're here. It's sort of like a liminal space kind of thing. It feels like exploring a abandoned mall or something like that. Metroid games give me that feeling sometimes a little bit, that I'm invading a space that exists without me. I feel like I'm getting closer to hitting this target. I think we established last night that I'm not eloquent. But there's definitely something to that. That's the feeling that I'm talking about. Is it feels like the space doesn't need me to be there. It's not there for me to experience it. I just happen to be experiencing it. And that is not a feeling that I get from every world I'm presented with. Like, Super Mario 64 doesn't give me that feeling. You know what I'm saying? But games like the Souls series, including Demon's Souls, give me that vibe. Metroid games give me that vibe. And certain shows, like, or stories or comics, like Berserk gave me those vibes at times. Made in Abyss definitely did. Yeah. So that's, I think I'm really finally getting to it. It was a long stroll to get to what I was meaning this entire time, but I figured it out. It does feel a lot of times with any media that it feels like it can feel like it's made just for you. Like, this is only happening because you're watching it or reading it or whatever. Like, it's too direct or something, or it doesn't matter. It's like a different kind of thing. Like, I brought up Super Mario 64. That's not the point of those. So it doesn't matter that it's like that. That's fine. Yeah, it feels like it's made for me, and it's supposed to. So it's not even necessarily a criticism of anything. It's just trying to make sense of what it is I like about some of these things. And yeah, Made in Abyss felt like a world that wasn't there just to be presented to you. It felt like you were invading something that was going on. Yeah, and the Souls games like that, Metroid's like that. Yeah. I will say Metroid's not always like that. There's definitely some stuff that feels very much like this is only happening because I'm here. But a lot of those times, it's like when you're first visiting some of those alien places, those landscapes, or if you're visiting like a derelict ship or something like that, it's usually the initial impressions and your first, the important exploration moments, they all feel like that to me. Subnautica, yes. Thank you. Subnautica is another one that did that. The follow-up, not as much. Well, you know, I have used the theme park description derisively in the past, which I think it's related. I think the reason I feel that way, because I've talked about that, certain games where I feel like they take a property and they just like put all the things that you're supposed to recognize in front of you and go, look, there it is. It's that thing you love. And it's just so obvious and painful that you just feel like you're at a theme park. You're just, you know, which can be fine if you're looking to go visit a theme park. But if it's trying to be something else, that's usually where I would say it derisively. You know, if it's trying to be something serious, but it's really just trotting out the tropes of the franchise, then it feels theme parky in a bad way. I wouldn't describe It Takes Two as theme parky, actually. I have trouble describing it. I wouldn't say that it doesn't feel like a world made just for the purpose of, you know, the player being there, but it's a bit different somehow. The thing with It Takes Two is that its polish level is over the top. That's what's really wild. It's not even really so much that the set pieces or the gameplay are so amazing. They're really pretty standard, but the execution level is so high. You know what I mean? It's just one of those exceptional things where you kind of can even take something relatively mundane, but it's got a polish level so high that you're still blown away by it. I'm not saying it's mundane underneath, but it's very above and beyond. Whatever, Caca. Now you're definitely not getting a book channel. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, someone mentioned Alex earlier as being one that avoided the theme park thing, and yeah, I would agree with that. It especially because it ventures so close to it. I was especially worried about it because it was, before I played it, it was still like City 17 stuff, so it felt like, man, we are still living in Half-Life 2 here. You know? But it managed to stand on its own away from that. So, and it took Half-Life 2's elements and somehow refreshed them again, which I feel like they shouldn't even be allowed to get away with. But they did do that. It's the same stuff. Antlions, the soldier guys, whatever the fuck they're called, I forgot their name. The Combine, the zombies, the barnacles. Yep, barnacles again. And expanded, like that, like Jeff. One of the best moments in the game. Just well fucking done, you know? That was one of those over the top moments cemented in my mind. Barnacles in Alex was just fun, I felt. It's unfortunate they called it that, and then I said that sentence. But here we are. It's 2021. I mean, yeah. Yeah. That would be an experience where you're going in expecting a theme park and you get a theme park for sure. I think it's honestly pretty rare that like the derisive case that I was talking about is actually happens. It's just tends to be the situation only if a property is like bought and then mined by somebody or handed off or phoned in or something like that. I mean, that's all I was ever trying to say with that kind of thing. Hey, Faldara. Yeah, man, I felt it's so close, and I don't know what to say. I was hoping to. It really looked like I was going to. I had that amazing build, but it just didn't go my way. I wasn't prepared. But I said at the beginning of that fight, something was gonna bamboozle me. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely not done with Hades by a long shot. Jazza, we have a Screamaday channel on the Discord, and I don't know what's pinned there, but there's a good chance that there should be a big old spreadsheet pinned in there that's got the previous years listed and old suggestions. I don't think it's super well organized. I think it kind of it's unwieldy.
Yes, I am the Lord.
Woo.
Zugi Zork, thank you for 35 months. There was something related to that Craig had brought up to me today. I haven't got back to him yet, but we might be talking about organizing that a bit better. I am going to have to start preparing for Screamaday because it's coming up quick and I have less time this year to do anything to get it going than any year before. Lurking butt. — 66 days? No, that's not right. Is that right? Oh my lord. Oh, that's terrible. That's worse than I realized. Yeah, maybe. We might do some Phasmo. Chime. We did do a lot in a short time. Very much thanks to your help, Craig. I have to come up with a plan. That's the thing. Last year, it was lucky that I thought of something that I thought would be okay. Theme-wise. Usually the holdup is I can't think of a theme that I like. Do you guys want to look at my wall drawing, as it was called? I don't know if I'm gonna work on it. Oh, I forgot I don't have the vinyl. Oh well. Silence. Colamek, yeah. I don't know what I last shared, but I did do a lot of cleanup on it. There was a lot of sketchy stuff, so I ended up drawing over top of a lot of the initial stuff that I did and get rid of a lot of mess lines and things. Yeah, a lot of the detail has been filled in around the sides. That was one of the bigger things. I also redrew, because this was all sketch before, now it's all actually drawn. Thank you, Chime. And I still have my shading test. I have a lot of test stuff. I haven't really worked out how I'm gonna actually do this. Well, it's supposed to be myself. So it's like me versus me. It did have, yeah. This is sort of the color scheme I was thinking. I wanted to do like a Western, like Red Rock, kind of New Mexico, that kind of thing, that kind of scheme. This is all test stuff, though. I feel like I want to do a painted look if I can. I just don't know if I'm actually capable of rising that to the level that I want it to be. But I am pleased with the where the sketch parts are so far. And it's all vector. It's so lovely that it's all vector. I love Clip Studio for that so much. Like, right now it's, yeah. So if I scale this up by like 2 or 3, oh, let's do 2. 3 might be too much. Hey, Paint. Yeah, vector, baby. It's so good. It's a revolution. So now I can like zoom in on this boy way in before it gets all pixely. I love that. I love that so much. There's a lot of stuff that needs work here. Also, when you do a resize like that, a lot of little screwiness with lines happens. If you have anything that was like fucky, it'll get emphasized by the scaling. I don't think there's any like huge obvious stuff except for like in this when I get close, like these don't line up. There's some gunk. There's bits of gunk all over the place. Look at this. What is that? What's that? What's that? What is this? What are these? Why are they there? I cleaned up so much of that stuff, but there's still more. Still more. Yeah, it's rendered bitmap, but it's based off of vector. So as you can see, so it has a base resolution. But it's so good, Paint, and it's so easy. It's so easy with Clip Studio. It really is. I mean, all you have to do is make a fucking vector layer, and then I don't have my tablet hooked up, but you just draw, and it's easy peasy as normal, except for at the end, you can resize it to whatever you want. And before the end, you can, okay, well, that looks insane. That's because I drew with the mouse. It's normally not like this. It's normally like this. Don't freak out. Good Lord. I mean, actually, there are tools, though, for adjusting it as well, which are really good. Where is that? Is that this? Correct line. Look at this. Like, here's simplify. So you saw how fucking crazy that was. So I can just paint over that like that. And then if I select it now, it still looks like shit. I may not have done a setting or something. Super simplify. There we go. Did you see that? Look how smooth it turned out. Now, look at that. Wham. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. And it's just nice, you know? Like, so one of the things that I've gotten used to doing is I don't sweat the lines that don't touch, you know, first try or whatever as much. Or if I want to do a better circle or a curve, I'll just get it in the ballpark. You know, like I didn't draw this perfectly. And it's not perfect either. I'm not saying it's a perfect circle, but you know, I probably swooped in and it tailed off here, but I just took the tail and then until it looked like a circle. And you know, stopped drawing 1,000 attempts at a perfect looking circle. You know, or if you have thicknesses that don't look absolutely, you know, the best or whatever, there's tools for doing little, yeah, like adjust line width. You can thicken, narrow, scale up, scale down, or you can just do fixed width and it'll just make it whatever you set it. So if I set this to like 15, I can just go in here and do, oh, I'm not on the right layer, or am I? That's on a different layer. But like, I don't know, I'll do that right here. See? Thinned it up a little, made the end a little thicker there because it was thinner than what I have my setting at. You know? It's nice. It's really powerful and yeah, they taper off. So when I'm using my tablet, the vector lines, there's literally, it's indistinguishable from drawing raster lines. The pressure sensitivity and everything, all that stuff works exactly the same. So I didn't manipulate all of these lines. The vast majority of these lines I never touched. I never touched them with any of the vector tools. Only ones that I really wanted to tweak or I was really specific with, like any of these parts that are like super straight lines and things like that, that's more because I was going in there and I was really trying to, because these are supposed to look like carved stone, so I wanted them to look different from the rock walls and stalactites and stalagmites and stuff, because those should look more natural and kind of flowy. So these lines, the rock wall, the cave wall, and all that stuff, the boulders, for the most part, I never did anything to other than just draw them. But they're all vector. So this, all the thicknesses and stuff, that's all just hand pressure, pen pressure. So it's totally like, that's why I'm saying it's better than you might imagine, because it is essentially seamless. You don't even realize that you're drawing in vector. That's how good it is. It's completely invisible until you want to mess with it, if you want to mess with it. Yes, I am the Lord.
Cake Zen Cake Pause Cake.
Amaranthus, thank you for 48 months, or 4 fucking years. 4 years. Oh, Vector Eraser, yes. Fucking, let me hook up my tablet. I'll show you more things. It looks better with, if I'm using the tablet. Gong, also. Okay, so let me show you. Paint probably left. Are you still here, Paint? Did I scare you away? Um, I've got my tablet here. So there is one aspect for myself that I do use constantly, and I am aware of the fact that I'm drawing in vector because of this fact. So let me switch to my felt pen. Okay, so this is now with tablet and pen pressure. So you can see there, that's all good. So let me draw a little box, right? So when you're drawing on a vector layer and you're using vector lines, the fucking vector eraser, and it's just using the same eraser tool, by the way, so it's seamless, like I was saying. If you were drawing on a raster layer and you use the eraser, it's going to work as you are familiar with raster. It's just going to erase literally whatever you erase. It's going to erase those pixels. But when you're working with vector, you have these options here, okay? And down here I have checked vector eraser, and there's these options under that, right? Erase touched areas, erase up to intersection, erase whole line. Erase up to intersection is insane. It's insane, okay? Watch. I'm going to drag it across this right here. Whoop. It's fucking gone. To the intersection. Whoop. 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 Shut up. That's so fucking good. That is so goddamn useful when you're drawing. And you can set it to do, like, if you want to draw, if you want to erase, like, raster style, you can do that still. And you'll get a little bit of, you may have noticed that there was some, like, wibbly wonky stuff, because when you do that with vector, it has to leave, like, points. And so the widths and everything get a little fucky because they're mathematical. So if you leave little, like, chunks, they get weird. But that's not a big deal, whatever. You'd probably erase those entirely anyhow. But the fucking erase to intersection, and you also can erase an entire line. If you want to kill a line, boom. Which is also pretty handy. But it's the intersection thing that's insane. It's insane how good that is, because you can just be like, doing, you're drawing whatever. You're drawing like a face. I'm not drawing a good face, but here we are. There. I cleaned that shit up. And now I can get in there, and if I want to, this could be better. There was sort of a notch there. I didn't like that. This doesn't connect great. There's like different widths. I could do that, or I can do this thing and just be like, oh, I want them to all be 15 right there. Yeah, that's good. There, matches now. Seamless. Cool. I'm like 101 or 001, whereas 6 is like masterclass with using like the symmetry stuff, and just it's off the charts, far beyond anything that I do. I don't even use like custom brushes. I just fucking do like, I augment basic drawing with some tools. That's all I do. That's as far as I got. So yeah. But don't be afraid of vector drawing. It's really, really good, and it actually just saves you headaches. And like I said, the biggest, bestest thing, in my opinion, that I love the most about it is the fact that you can have your finished work at any size. And that's amazing to me. Except for where it kind of falls down is this doesn't really apply to painting and stuff. Or if it does, I'm not at that level. So, for instance, other stuff I've done. Oh God, this is just a big pile of shit. Himbo. Right. So like, oh yes, fill in, ignore gap, dude. Yeah, the coloring in this is also amazing, and then it's totally adjustable. Selections also can do that. They can go to the center line of lines. Oh my god. Anyway, so like with something like this, the line work is vector, but the internal, the coloring, the painting stuff, not final by the way. Uh, that's raster. At least the way I do things. So there is an upper limit to how far you could really go. Because if I were to try to upscale this by like 5, all of the painted stuff is going to be, pixely and gross. Although this is already at a size that's probably, I mean, this is print size. Actually, this is half print size from the target. I was targeting movie poster size. And it's the same story with these. So all the line work is vector. I need to go through and do like a polish job on all of these because there's a lot of like, I wasn't as good with the line stuff in clip yet. There's actually a lot of weird little fuckery. Like what's going on? What's that there? A lot of cleanup stuff I need to do. What? How have you not seen these paint? You haven't seen the Space Cops posters? Also, work in progress, unreleased, never to be finished. Uh, yeah, these are like 2 years old now. I did one for each of the cops. Is this even the finished? I think it is. Not sure. So there's Justin, Dude, Nakomi, and there's mine. Um, ugh, look at this. Yeah, these all were like various stages of incomplete. The weird, like, warbling. I don't know why that's like that. They're all like that. Bizarre. The background on this one is the best one, though. Makes me feel like I need to go back and redo the backgrounds on the others because, well, this one was never finished. I almost feel like this isn't even the right one because the background doesn't look right to me, but it must be right. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. There's the bad background still underneath the good background. Yeah, I don't think I would want to talk about that, to be honest. I like the tree, but the background, the rest of the background is really lacking in um, details, unfortunately. Definitely needs something more. That looks wild. Oh yeah, there's the trace, the original sketch. Clip Studio, real good. Seriously, dive into it because it's the way to draw. In my opinion, I enjoy drawing in it more than any other tool. It honestly kind of reinvigorated it for me because I always found it rather obnoxious in Photoshop, and Clip is like made for it. So it feels very much more natural, and the results are significantly better. Oh yeah, and it's much more affordable. It's so much more affordable. No, you got it the right way, Chime. Yeah, Rasp. What up, Six? Yeah, actually, that's fucked me up a few times because there's a sort of um, how do I explain it? There's a lot of different ways that you can do work on one layer while referencing another layer. Which I have found insanely. This is another one for you, Paint. I know you just said you go layer by layer, but like as an example here, like I'll make another new vector layer, right? And I'm just gonna draw a circle. And then one of the difficulties in the past, or something like Photoshop or whatever, if you want to do like a fill, you have to make a selection, right? But in the case of Clip, if I go to the fill tool here, it's got this option. Okay, first of all, it's got area scaling, so just shut the fuck up right now. But then it's also got refer options, okay? You can have it refer to other layers, or a reference layer, a selected layer, layer in a folder. So on the first setting, the way it works is, so I've got this raster layer. This is separate from the vector layer that the circle is on, right? But, boom. So I've got my typical settings on, so it's going into the middle of the line, even though it's on another layer. Do you see that? So it's actually going to like there. I'll make like a little indicator. So like this is the center. Isn't that great? It's so much better than making a selection and fucking with no need to even think about any of that shit. And that's just how I have it set to work difficult, like, or not, sorry, difficultly, on a default setting. That's just my default. So I don't even think about this shit. It's just how it works for me now. I love it. I love it. I have a high difficulty setting in Clip Studio. So, yeah, I would say the thing that really blows my mind about it is even just taking advantage of those few things that I've listed there, which is pretty much all I take advantage of, right? I'm not using crazy advanced stuff at all. What is this layer? Was this an example one I made for fun? Maybe it is. Maybe I should just close. uh, let's close it. Even just the basic stuff that I've just shown has made me so much more productive, but also makes me like it doesn't feel like it's in my way at all. That's the thing I think that was the most compelling to me once I got into this, was just like I feel like I'm just free to just draw, and I don't have to think about any kind of bullshit at all. It just removes all the barriers and lets me do powerful stuff very very easily without a lot of, anguish, without dealing with a bunch of bullshit. And that's what really makes me happy about it. So, sorry for the giant sales pitch. I just felt like sharing. I guess. I don't know. I guess I felt like because you said that you were scared to like bother with Vector yet, I was thinking like maybe you don't know about some of this awesome stuff. And maybe if you did know about some of this awesome stuff, that might change your mind. So I'm glad it was enlightening. Yeah, I guess the only reason I felt so impassioned about it is I really feel like this is an easy one for you to try. Like I don't feel like this should really be far outside of your comfort zone at all, at your level. And I imagine that a lot of us, all of the artists that kind of intercommunicate here, I feel like work similarly. So I feel like, you know, there's got to be some commonality in work styles and stuff. On the other hand, I've definitely like, especially recently over the past like year or two, talking with a lot of you more and seeing how you do things and stuff like that. Like I've realized how much there is for me to learn. Not that I thought that I was like I knew everything or something like that, from the perspective of that I just had no idea about some things that were possible. now, or like the way that people work now. Especially because like I had kind of dipped out of drawing for a long time, and so shit really moved on without me. I just didn't realize a lot of what the trends were and where things went in the meantime because I was so out of it. What's this little what's this little thing? Oh. See, I like being able to do that stuff really easily. If there's any little strays, I can get in there and clean it up. 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 Any more? There's something. Clean it up. Oh, whoops. Look at all the crap that's underneath of that. Gotcha. Gotcha. Need another one down here somewhere. I've seen it. I've seen it. I can't find it though. Doesn't really matter because it's underneath. Clean it up. Even like amateur work is so different these days because of the like crazy ingenuity of tools that exist now that like, you're saying like you don't consider yourself an artist. I don't think that it's necessarily like you don't have to look at it like that. There's a huge array of creative tools these days that allow you to do stuff that is so insane by comparison to like a decade ago or whatever. Basically, you can do stuff now that was difficult for like movie studios to do. Like it's made all this stuff, almost a lot of things, trivial because there's plugins or algorithms or whatever for doing a lot of things these days. That it's I don't know. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. I'll tell you what though, doing like random looking rock formations is it's a tedious job. I feel like I've been drawing little thick to thin lines I have over and over again for quite some time. I just noticed another little thing. Oh, something. This is all kind of, it's lumpy. Lumpy. I don't like that. No lumpy. No lumpy. Yeah, that's better. I don't like any weird connecting lumps. Like here's another one. Right here. See? Ah, I see why. I see why. Actually gonna have that terminate up there, and then there. That'll just generally look better. Smoother connection. Kind of. It's kind of thin. That's better. That's better. And it's still kind of a weird down there. Kind of weird little something. There. Yeah, all right. At some point, you gotta leave it alone. At some point, you gotta just fucking move on with your life. Oh god, yeah, like wood grain. There's 6 with those brushes. I told you. I told you. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the sad thing about art is that you can be all meticulous about some shit like this because you care about it, and then maybe never release it. And so no one will ever see the little lumpy connecting line thing that you agonized over or whatever it is. Or maybe you do release it and just nobody cares as well as probably the majority of art. If you're making stuff that isn't for like some specific purpose, it's really kind of a sad and lonely thing to do. I decided I wanted that to have a smoother, because that's basically the defining outer line of that. And actually, I really don't have a purpose for this. I'm kind of just doing it for myself. Um, Not that it's like something I needed, but like it's just an idea I had, and I wanted to make it. I guess I don't know. Kind of, yeah. I was thinking about using it as part of revamping my Twitch stuff. You know, maybe do a whole like everything's drawings, but it takes me 1 million years to do anything to where I feel like it's finished, and so might not have been the best choice of plan. I'm doing good, Ethan. How you doing? I had a headache this evening. That's my only like problem. And I'm a little wiped out because we were running around today, Nakomi and I, stores and shit. Um, but I got a new job and I'm really, really excited about that. That's a big deal for me right now. Trying not to overly talk about it because I feel like I'm just gonna wear everybody out very quickly. But that is the biggest thing on my agenda. Yeah, Omni has nailed it. No further explanation necessary. There's definitely nothing wrong with that description of the situation. Excuse me. Sorry. Omni said it already. I'm going to be a Fed front end developer. So it's a agency. And it's going to be much more nearer to the bleeding edge of the type of work that I do, that I like doing. So that's where most of my excitement is coming from about that. Is that I'm going to be able to really hone my skills and get into, learning the latest greatest stuff and working on some really really cool projects, and just that's where it's at. I am kind of finally getting to work at a place that I think is more, very much more in line with who I am and how I work, and the type of work that I do. I wish I could help you, Defective. I don't really do anything different, although I guess I don't really have too much trouble. Well, I don't know. No, it's different. It's always different. And sometimes I sit down with a blank sheet and I don't have any idea where I'm going. And sometimes I sit down with an idea all ready to go. You know? So like this is based off of, I don't know, actually. I don't remember how this started. It just popped in my head at some point that I thought that the Kono emote looked or reminded me of like Mayan uh Mayan art style, or like the sort of basically this. I've snuck in, this is sort of like an Easter egg in a way, because this is the type of thing I had in my mind, and this is what it looks like. But just, you know, I don't know. It hit me somehow, and so I started drawing this thing. I started with just trying to convey the emote, and then it grew off of that. So I started adding the boulders around the sides, and then I started adding the ceiling of the cave, and it just kind of grew from there. So it can be really intimidating to sit down with just a blank sheet of paper, and if you don't have a plan. But what I do sometimes do is well, so for that problem, you have to be able to let yourself fail. Otherwise, you can't really do anything. Because nothing, I've never done any creative endeavor that's come out exactly what I have in my head. I've kind of felt like my creative journey through life has always been that whatever I have in my head, in my brain, that's perfect. And then I try to figure out like, well, how do I get that out? And does that mean like tools or applications? And it tends to be like, you know, And the reason for that could be so many different things, right? It could be mood, or it could be something I need to practice more. If it's like a conglomeration of things, if it's a bunch of different talents, or talents is not a good word, but um, I meant something else. I meant like different skill sets, basically. Techniques, sure. It's always really hard to get what you have in your head out. Even when you're really skilled with stuff, you may not know always the best things to use or style that you want to go for or whatever. So don't worry about it being as perfect as that. Just try to get close. Just try to get it as far as you can get it. You're like Sisyphus. You push the boulder as far as you can, but you're never going to necessarily get it over the top. The point is in trying to do it at all. Um, Sometimes I'll just, like, with a blank sheet of paper, I'll just sort of like open-ended, whatever pops in my mind, whatever I feel like. Oftentimes I'll sort of do like expressive face things, just sketchy crap, and just see where it goes without any plan necessarily. But it might start to head towards something on its own. This isn't really advice. I'm just talking about shit that I do sometimes. I just like playing around with facial structure sometimes without any sort of aim. I don't really have a face in mind. I'm just sort of whatever. I also didn't do like the line stuff you're supposed to do to make sure that things are proportionally where they're supposed to be. But just whatever. Sort of kind of keep adding crap and massage it around, see if it becomes anything. Maybe it won't. Probably won't. Sometimes I'll do like a pile of these on one sheet. And there's not really any particular point to this other than sometimes I like to do it just to like it's kind of like when I was would play guitar, I would do this thing where I would just sort of noodle around. I wasn't really playing a particular song. I was just playing like whatever uh haphazardly almost, and just moving from thing to thing without any structure. And sometimes that resulted in things that I liked or whatever. And sometimes it was just crap, garbage. Like this isn't really anything. This is just, I don't know what this is. This is weird at this point, in my view. So this is just something I would abandon. Glam band. Yeah, sure. Why not? Kind of David Bowie-esque, right? Like that kind of thing. And this was just nothing. I wasn't setting out to do this. I wasn't trying to make whoever this is. I'll bet the proportions are really fucked up. That's the number one thing when I do this that's not good. Uh, eh, really not terrible. That's an accident. You know what's on that? The interesting thing with digital art is there is no small or big or anything. Um, you can draw however's comfortable for you because you can zoom in and out and then whatever. If you like if you're saying that like you draw super up close to something, maybe you do, and I don't know. That's fine. Like you can do that for sure. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Just get really, I mean, honestly, it's if you're doing detail stuff, then you can readjust, your perspective on things, zoom in, zoom out, do whatever. And also that's another advantage of the whole vector thing because like if you draw tiny, however you mean it, you can scale it, sort of thing. Well, at some point all you can do is try. That's all I can say to you beyond that. Like you can if you if you feel like there's no way, then don't force yourself to do something that you don't want to do or whatever. This is coming out weird. So a strange angle. Not good. But like all you can do is just try. If you find that you're trying to do something and you're struggling with it, try approaching it from a different angle. Would be another recommendation, I guess. Um, none of this. It's not like any of these lines I've drawn are permanent. So like that's another thing to remember. Like you can just do whatever. If you feel like you get to a point where there's no way that you can change it at all and make it go how you want, you can abandon it, I guess. But you can also remove any part of it at any time and completely alter whatever it is and give it a totally different look. You know, and this is just, I don't know. This one's another one where it's like, I don't know if I would take this anywhere from here. Because I just went completely wherever random and wasn't really planning a particular thing. Just to show, like, you can do that. You don't have to have a plan. But if you want to be good at anything, the fundamental truth that applies to everybody and everything is doing it. Period. Doing it and doing it often. The only reason I can draw at all, and I don't consider myself all that good compared to basically all my art friends, is I drew all the fucking time for 20 years or whatever when I was growing up. I just liked doing it. I enjoyed it, so I became good at it. I think it's extremely hard to become good at something that you don't actually enjoy. If you're, I don't want it to be, it's not like a moral thing, but just like there's a fact of the matter that if you want something like that, you just aren't going to get good at it if you don't really want to do it. Passion for this sort of stuff is like rocket fuel. If you have time and you have passion, you can fucking soar because you're going to voraciously be seeking out new knowledge and new skill and new techniques, and you'll just naturally be constantly practicing, and it'll be effortless because you're passionate. You know, for myself, I also did piano. I had piano lessons for like almost 20 years in music theory. I didn't like it, and I am not a pianist. I'm not a composer. I'm not a maestro. I could play the piano if I sat down and practiced a bit, but I cannot play the piano like I can draw. I know that much. And I'm not an amazing artist or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that I'm great. I'm just saying that that's how you become even decent at anything. It's just wanting it and putting in the time. Little cakes. Oh, little banana cakes that Nakomi doesn't want. I like banana cakes. Thank you. I have banana cake. Hmm. I don't think that's irrational at all, defective. So I know that I've been there myself, 100%, many times. Uh, there's definitely things. Programming. Programming is my white whale, I guess, where I have spun my wheels a lot because I the reason. So here's an example of where when your passions and your desires don't necessarily align. Um, in my career and in my search for work that I, felt like would be a good fit for me, and this is I'm not talking recently, I'm talking like throughout my life. Um, I have a big passion for front end development. Like most back end developers will say that they fucking hate front end, they hate CSS. I get it. I'm the other side of that coin. I love the front end. I understand the front end. I don't hate CSS. I'm good at that shit. I've mastered that shit. But a massive amount of the jobs in that space, there's not that many that are carved out for what I've just been lucky enough to get into, which is a focus on front end. And so what they typically call for is what's called full stack in the programming world. Full stack basically means do you do everything front to back? And that sucks when it's like, I know I can do this front end stuff that they want, but they also are saying that I have to be like expert level PHP or expert level Java or expert level whatever. And so I would basically punish myself trying to learn these things, throw myself down the well of this language and that language and whatever else. And I know that I can learn them. I'm not dumb, but I do run into frustration because programming doesn't come as naturally to me, I feel. Or I have a bit of a tendency to really get wrapped up in a sort of imposter syndrome loop where I will decide that I don't know the language and then I'll try to learn it and I'll start at the beginning and it'll be all the beginner stuff that I know. Cuz in reality for me, I can get into that stuff and swim. Not necessarily I'm not going to be writing your applications from scratch. That's not my expertise. But I can get in there and syntax is sort of irrelevant for me. If it's a Java application and there's front end stuff, I can get in there and do the front end stuff and I can navigate around the Java, probably even write some of it or whatever language. But I just can never seem to get to a level where I feel like I could claim to be a programmer. And it's always been a frustration for me where it's just, I don't know why I get stuck in this loop. Uh, but yeah, so I don't know. I think everybody runs into shit like that. I think that's totally normal. He's not barking about dinner. I don't know what he's barking about. He's just barking. He's just a barker. Yeah. So I don't know. If you really want it, stick to it and try to push past the frustration. Wow. Six, I just looked at your DM of the wood brush and that's bonkers. What's wild to me about that is my first thought looking at it is it looks like something Junji Ito would draw. That shit's wild. What a crazy brush that is. Yeah, just do that in a spiral and you're there. So, I don't know. I'm not like a teacher. I'm not a therapist or any. I can't really. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I don't know if they're helpful at all. I could be a DJ, but not a composer. I think to maybe refine the analogy you're going for there. When you see these spirals. Oh no, you're just resharing the same pic. Gotcha, gotcha. Shut up, Keck. Yeah, I'm not very I don't know how to make good use of brushes, I guess. That's what I've found. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, thank you. I cheated and traced my Kono emote. The context? No. I probably was making a face on my face cam and somebody like Dav probably screenshotted it and put that picture in Discord and then it was history. Likeliest story, I'd say. I'm gonna have another banana cake. Absolutely scammed. It's a scammeroonie. These banana cakes are some of the spoils of Nakomi visiting another Asian market. She can't be allowed to run free in an Asian market. She goes crazy. Like she got these banana cakes. She didn't even like banana cake. In her defense, I'm not seeing it saying banana anywhere. There is a small icon of a banana. Oh, on the back there's a picture of a bunch of bananas. So I don't know how she missed that. Mostly it says finger shape, and then in giant text it says flavor, which makes it look like it says finger shape flavor, which sounds terrible. And then it says soft and delicious finger cake. Yes, I get to eat all of these cakes because she doesn't like banana cake. I don't know why she bought them. Oh, they're good. I like them. Yo, that place was great, Paint. That was an amazing uh it was an amazing market. It's one of the better ones I think we've been to. No, no, Nick, because she came in here, she handed me one that was half eaten and then handed me the whole bag. So, yeah, no. She didn't get them for me. Was it you, Dav? Do you know? Are you the originator of Kono? I know you're the originator of a few of the ones that are my face. Oh, you already answered this question. So you were responsible for CoThink. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the origins anymore. Richie's another good candidate, yeah. Richie's done a few of these. Who did Covert? Who caught Covert? Again, I want to pin that on Dav. Maybe that was... Was that Matt, maybe? I think Matt just used it a lot. Maybe Matt just used it a lot and I've associated it with him. Was it? Was it from my Twitter? I think almost all of these originated. No, no, no. That's definitely a screenshot from a stream. In fact, I remember. Shit. Is that the Vive? Yeah, that's okay. That's the Vive. So that's from one of the first streams where I had the Vive, but it wasn't from my Twitter. It was definitely from a stream screenshot. Do we have a Copog? If we do, I'm not aware of it. What? Was there a candidate for Copog? Huh. I mean, I have slots. I actually want to, and maybe I should do this on stream, but I wanted to really refresh the emotes, like big time. I don't know how y'all are gonna feel about it, but I was almost considering like a total clean sweep and do all drawn emotes. See, this is the thing: is everyone's gonna come out the woodwork with their little favorite. And I'm just gonna get in trouble. I'm just gonna make everybody mad. That's my stream legacy. To make everybody mad. Honestly, with the library, the emote library they have now, it's awesome because I can just keep everything, including legacy emotes, in there and switch them in and out freely. It's so much better, dude. I can't tell you how painful it was. So you know why I fucking always would leave the goddamn Screamaday emotes up for 6 goddamn months after Screamaday is over? It's because it was such a painful, horrible, shitty experience changing all of your emotes. My good God. It's so awful, dude. Or it was so awful. Now it's actually good. Now it's easy. But previously, boy, it would have been easier if I like printed them out, put them in an envelope, and mailed them to Twitch. Yeah, here's your emotes. I know, I can't believe that it took them this long to basically just make the system nice for the first time. I don't know why. It's nice that they're arriving at these things now. Better late than never. But boy, it sure seems like they could have come up with stuff like this much sooner or even from the beginning. Thank you, Fox. To be honest, I pulled that entirely out of my ass. I I didn't look at any references. I just started drawing basically to give them texture. So if you like how that looks, I'm glad. Because I completely fudged it. Oh my god, you guys are doing the real detective work here. Which means you've found it in the Discord. That's what's happened. Oh, look at this fucking picture. What a weirdo I am. I look exceedingly happy because of my cheeks. My cheekbones. Well, thank you for bringing me back down to earth, Kakao. I literally don't know what they should look like. Oh, I always mix them together into one word. I miss when you used to be able to specify like a bigger than this and then put in a number. Now it's not as good. I mean, I don't think that I'm that far. I mean, I'm not trying to do like an ultra realistic thing. It's amazing to me that this is all the pictures for striations with stalactite. You would think there would be a few more than this. And there isn't even like a close-up photo of one. They're all from fucking far away, so you can't see the striations. Really? It's more wind-like? Or more like wind erosion? You mean, so basically like what you would naturally assume, right? Which is that they're from like dripping down, so they would all be in a like U shape layers down, and then same but opposite for the ones on the floor. So stalactites or stalagmites, stalactites, stalagmites. Is it stalagmites? Why do I have so much trouble with this, dude? There's so many different ways for remembering it, and zero of them work for me. Yeah. Well, look, it's supposed to just sort of be cartoony, really. All right, so get off my fucking back. I said I didn't use a fucking reference. That's pretty damn good for no reference, I'd say. You should take the striations you got and be happy. Pocket these striations and fucking head home. The fact that there's any at all is amazing. Incredible. Give me a Pulitzer for this shit. This is just a lot of words of me trying to avoid having to redraw how they look. Because I spent a long time drawing little lines. And I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. So this one then would be better or less wrong than like this one where there's these lines are implying an endpoint that's sort of like here, which yeah, doesn't make sense. I agree. Same for this one. This is sort of like it looks like it's going, which is not that doesn't make sense. This one looks probably okay, and this one's a maybe. I just wanted them to have texture. I guess if it's just those two, I could fix that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny how earlier I'm all like, you can draw anything, and you can delete anything, so nothing. But once you've committed to this level of stuff, then you're much more like, but I spent so much time in it. And it's just like a sunk cost fallacy, right? I could, if I put a hole right here and then maybe draw some small gusts of wind. Hey, hey, hey. Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. Well, this has been a weird, interesting night. But I think I better take my finger-shaped flavor cakes and get the fuck out of here. I hope you enjoyed the 5 lines that I drew. I'll be back tomorrow, probably. And tomorrow's gun day. And normal gun day, not custom gun day. So I will see you guys then with the gun friends. But as for myself, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, everybody.